Hello, everyone, and welcome to Art Venture Encore. This is the final class. I hope you are all excited for CeCe's class. And go ahead and take it away, CeCe.
Okay, I'll do that. We'll just jump right in. My name is CeCe. I'm a furniture artist, the only one and the owner of CeCe Restyled in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I'm at my studio where I do all the things, and today we're going to paint up and transfer up and stencil up these little boxes. Oh, and we're going to stripe them up too. So these are just some little run-of-the-mill little craft boxes, and I love these things because there's so many things you can do with them. They're so plain, and you can just really make them really, the sky's the limit, right? So what I've done is I've taken off all of my hardware. So my hinges and then my little clasp that goes on the top. That's optional, but I do suggest it just because it makes a nice cleaner look. And it's a little easier to manage the two pieces when you're painting than it is one. And like each side has to dry, so it's kind of a pain. So separate, it's a little easier. You can just use a little screwdriver, or sometimes the eyeglass screwdriver is big enough. Super easy. Take those off. Let's see, I like to keep them in a little cup like this so I don't lose everything. These are paint water cups, but I use them for hardware, for jewelry boxes and stuff like that. So anyways, I've taped up the inside of my bottom. Okay, again, optional. You don't have to do that. If you can paint a crisp line, you're more than welcome to, or if you're going to paint out the inside, you can do that too. But I probably won't. So I like a nice crisp edge. So I painted or taped off the inside of the bottom and the inside of the top. I even went a little extra, as I was saying, and did the little hinge thingies. Not necessary. But I am the queen of unnecessary things. So we'll try to stick to the necessary for the class. How about that? So let's see. We're going to go ahead and let's start with our bottom. Okay. Because we're going to be doing some blending with the paint. And if we start on the bottom, then you get all these sides and all these sides, and then you get to end up on the top after you've had all that practice. If you're not familiar with blending, or you want some practice, or you've never done it before ever, we will learn that. I like to have a couple of, you can use paint cans, you can use soup cans. I use paint cups like this. When my piece is drying, I like to elevate it just like that a little bit. So I set them on there to dry. That's, again, it's not necessary. It's just helpful because, if you paint the bottom and then you set it down, it kind of, gets a little gloopy, I guess. It could pull up at the bottom. So I just like to suspend them to dry. But we're going to start with the bottom. I'm not going to do the actual bottom. If you want to start with the bottom to practice, actually, maybe we better. I'm worried about dry times though. I'm going to do the sides. If anybody's completely lost, then we'll utilize the bottom to practice our blending. Otherwise, we'll just start with the sides, okay? So we think we have, did we confirm we have 2-inch chip brushes? Is that right? 2-inch or whatever you want. I grabbed one. What's that?
I said nobody responded, so just go ahead with whichever.
I mean, if there's nobody watching, then that would make sense.
No, we have Tracy says she has her own brushes.
That's awesome. Yes, that is great. I would love to use my own brushes. I'm gonna use the chip brushes in case anyone else doesn't have their own and uses chip brush. But I had all kinds of sizes. You should have 2-inch, but I think we'll just go ahead and start with the 2-inch, and I'll grab this 1.5-inch because that's what I have. I like to have some shop towels handy, or paper towels, or whatever cloth that is you can either dispose of it or wash it, or lint free preferably, but I'm gonna use a paper towel because that way I can just pitch it. So
Tracy said they received the 2-inch.
Though they did get 2-inch. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I only have 1 2-inch. Actually, this one's almost.
Yeah, so did Lisa. Perfect, you guys. Thank you.
We're apples to apples, right? So I grab you some shop towels or paper towels, some kind of cloth to wipe paint on. Yes, you'll get paint on it. So nothing you love, not your favorite guest room towels. I'm going to start with one of my brushes, and last time, I can't remember which. I know we had blues, but I can't remember which we used these last time. I'm going to show you the sample box in just a moment. I spaced that, but while I'm doing that, if you could let me know which of these blues, or if you have what other colors. Maybe you have other colors, but I was thinking I was told blues. So while I'm confirming that, the blues, okay, do you have the light blue too? A light blue and a dark blue, or is it just the two closer?
No, they have a white. So they have true blue, ultra deep blue, and a white.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, I have a white as well. True blue. Okay, we're gonna grab true blue, ultra deep blue, and I'm gonna grab my white. I'm going to show you this sample that I made. So our last class we had, don't look at the bottom, was just for testing, but the last class we had the darker blues, or we end up using the darker blues anyways. And so you can see the blending, it's very subtle because the colors, the two blues are pretty close, right? And in hue, one's darker, one's a little bit lighter. So you get this nice subtle kind of blended look right here. The bottom little sample that I did had a lighter blue. So you can see it a lot more apparently, obviously, and can kind of see it there. So we're going to blend all the sides. I'm going to grab white. So everybody has white and, white, true blue, and ultra deep blue. We're probably going to use true blue and white, but I'm going to keep that one handy in case things go swimmingly. We might need that for some shadowing. All right, so white, you got snow, titanium white. All right, so obviously you want to. All right, cool. Let's start with the true blue. True blue, baby, I love you. Shake up your paint. Obviously, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I'm a little lazy. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't shake it up or I forget, but definitely want to do that. I like to pour mine out on a little either paper plate or one of those fancy paint cups like I showed you. So we're gonna first do our paint job, and then we're gonna do some subtle stenciling on the top. You can't see it so much on this sample, a little bit right there. I covered it up with the flowers for a reason, nothing, no serious reason, but you'll see it in a minute. It's a subtle stenciling. I call it ghosted stenciling, and I'll explain that to you in a minute, but that is our next step after paint. So let's go ahead and get our paint going so it dries. So I got my true blue. I always paint 2 coats when I'm painting something like furniture, but for this, since this is raw wood and it's taking the paint so well, we can stick with 1 coat because it's covering really well. If you would like to do 2 coats, that's all you, boo. Go for it. But I think we're good with 1. I mean, this coverage is great. So our Deco Art craft paints, they're little, bottles of acrylic. Love me some acrylic paint. Okay, so we're just gonna cover that. I wanted to get my edge. So I just like to kind of go like this a little bit. You don't want to brush at your tape, okay? You want to brush away from it like that or side to side. You don't want to brush at your tape. That is just going to, maximize your chances of getting, some paint under that tape, and then you get your gloops and then you're all sad because nobody likes gloopy paint, gloopy edges. All right, so here you go. Any drips, get rid of those along the edges. And then I'm gonna grab one more little paint cup and grab a little bit of white, okay? Get a bit of white or a lot of white, however much white you want. And then I'm gonna grab my other chip brush, okay? You have 2 chip brushes, right? Not 3 or 3?
Yes, they received.
2.
They received at least 2.
2, okay. 2 is good, 3 is better, but 2 is definitely workable. So let's go ahead and dip it in our white, just the tip of our brush in the white. And I like to get the excess off on the side of my little paint jar here. Okay, you don't want super excess. Load it up and then unload it on the side. Kind of silly, right? But it works. So got my little shop towel / paper towel here, and through the middle, I'm just gonna start kind of like that, just gently through the middle, okay? See how as you keep kind of doing the brush strokes, it starts to blend right on into that background color. And notice I'm using, since you're using a 2-inch, if you're using a 2-inch, I use the side of my brush, right? The short side like this, lengthwise, instead of like this, then we'd just be covering up all our dark blue. So we want lengthwise like this. Got any hairs from your cheap brushes? I mean, your chip brushes. I said cheap. I meant chip. No, actually, this one's super cheap. It sheds, so get those out. We don't want those. And then you're gonna have excess. See how your white brush is turning blue? That's no good. So we just, the shop towel is to wipe off all the excess paint. So I like to wipe it all off as best I can on my shop towel, paper towel, whatever you're using. And then I want to just go at it a little bit more, okay? Gently. You don't have to work super fast. I mean, unless you're sitting under a fan or some AC and your paint's drying so fast that you can't blend it. But gosh, this brush is terrible. What is this brush? Jack Richardson. Oh, that's too bad because they make good brushes usually. We're gonna bounce over to this brush. Hopefully this one's better. So we're just gonna keep back and forth. See how it just blends right on in? But we want to clean up our edges a little bit. So wipe off my brush again. And then I just want to do like a circular motion around it. Make kind of oval, the shape of the, the side of the drawer. Just like we're running around a racetrack like that, okay? Running around the racetrack, okay? And then maybe I might wipe it off again and I might give it just one more couple back and forth. And then that's really it. That's the name of the game. If you have got more white on the edges and you want, just take your brush, not load it up, you just want to kind of brush on a little bit around the edges for some shadowing. You can do that. And then take your brush and just kind of blend that in. A little circly hook type, motion there. Really want to just follow that. You basically want a really faded oval in the middle, right? So there's one more thing I'm going to show you, and I didn't show the last classes because it's not part of my sample and it wasn't even part of the class, but it's so super quick and easy. I'm just going to show you just because. So I got my darker blue here, right? And this is not necessary. It's optional. I don't know. I'm just feeling froggy today. So I'm just going to grab, if you have a third brush or another brush, you just want to get a little tiny bit of that dark color. You could use dark gray or even black if you're super, super light-handed with it. You just want to get a little bit into the, your brush, just as much as you would like, your blush or your eyeshadow. You want it up in there, but you don't want it like, falling off or dripping off. That's too much, right? So then I want to just kind of around these corner edges. See how I lightly just go like make a little triangle in the corner? Okay. Do you see how that darkens up that corner just enough to make like a pretty little, it's a subtle shadow in the corner, right? Super subtle.
Are you dry brushing, CeCe, or is it just basically a little bit water?
Yeah, you can definitely consider this a dry brushing. Okay, you just want to basically you're dry brushing that darker color right into the corners. Okay, and that just creates a little more shadowing. See this corner versus this corner. It's not like you're gonna look at it and be like, "Whoa, hold on, she used 3 colors. Wow, wowza!" But it's subtle enough, and it's those subtle little things that make your art. Not special. It's all special, but like, a little more thoroughly done, a little more expert, if you will, right? The little subtle details.
Tracy says that's a cool idea, and Becky says vignette.
Yes, a vignette. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite words. Vignette. Vignette.
It does make it sound all fancy, doesn't it?
Yeah, a vignette is basically just kind of like a darkening or lightening of the corners, which kind of out of focus, and it makes your eye focus on whatever the vignette is around, right? So it's kind of forcing you to look at a certain. I love it.
Becky says that you taught her that.
Good. I'm glad I taught somebody something because that makes me happy. So I'm not doing all for nothing. All right, so we're going to move on to the other sides, and we're going to do the same. We're just going to move a little bit quicker because now we're pros. But, I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone by assuming that everyone has never done this. And I also don't want to leave anyone in the dust by assuming that everyone has done it. So I'm just going to kind of go at a quicker pace, but not, I'm still going to explain what I'm doing. So again, okay, there we go. Little schmegma in there. We're going to just paint our background or our base color, whatever you want to call it, in the darker blue. And you want to be careful, you know, you don't want to, a lot of times I see people like when I paint over an edge, I always paint away, you know, is that away from it? Towards the edge, I mean. Okay. But a lot of people don't do that. They'll paint like this and then they get that drip. See that? Whoop, that drives me nutty. It drives me nutty. So that's why I paint in this direction, you know, towards the corner. But, you know, I've seen people leave that before, and professionals do that before. And I'm like, really?
That's a great tip.
Can I, I don't know. Just one of those things, you know, just
Right.
details.
Pet peeves.
It's the details. It's those details, the minor ones that set people, you know, on different levels. Okay, so now we're going to go back to our white brush, which is now blue looking, but it's for white. Make sure I wipe that off pretty good. Then dab, dab, dab in my white, get the excess off on the edge. So this is not quite dry brushing. It's like a step up. It's like a semi-dry wet brushing almost. That's how much you want to load up. So I'm just going to go right here in the middle, kind of like this. Okay, back and forth, or one way, whichever. Back and forth, one way, it doesn't matter. Just brush it gently until it starts to just blend right on into that background. See, it's like you don't even have to really do anything. You just hold the brush and brush, you know? That's the secret. The secret is there is no secret. Like mystery. So, I mean, there's so many people that can't get the hang of it. And I'm just going to take this and go around the edge. I just grabbed this brush because it's small, but go around the edge, circle your track, you know, like you're running the track, you're in a race, track and field. And basically you're just kind of cleaning up those strokes and then giving it a nice kind of ovally, dreamy look instead of like, you know, just brush strokes back and forth. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my white brush again. And I'm just going to, like I did last time, just give it one more little kind of back and forth. And then I'm just going to do a little bit of my vignetting in the corners. Nothing crazy, just real quick. Just a real quick little dusting, I guess. Dusting of the corners. Here we go. All right, and that's that side. We got 2 more sides to go. And we'll just get right to them because then we got the top to do. But it's fine. The more, you know, the more sides we do, the faster you're going to get, and everything will be all gravy.
So how did you get into furniture and everything and crafting?
Oh man, well, I didn't really have a choice as far as the crafting and the making things and creating things goes. My dad was a fine artist and a photographer, and my mom was like one of the super crafty ladies. If Pinterest were a thing back in the day, she would have been on it constantly. She'd been like a human Pinterest. So I got a lot of it from my mama, but she was never that great. I mean, she can draw and stuff, but she was never that great at, like, you know, portraits or drawing much or painting. She was just super creative. Like, she could whip up anything out of nothing. And it was awesome. But anyways, I guess so. I didn't have a choice. And then I went to school for interior design after high school. So, you know, I learned all about the furnitures, the history of furniture, styles, you know, historical periods, things like that. All right, I'm dipping my white, and we're just going to go back and forth here with our white. But after interior design school, I realized that I did not want to be an interior designer. I wanted to be a waitress for 14 years. So that's what I did. No, 10 years. I'm sorry. I wanted to be a waitress instead. So that's what I did. The money was much better than the interior design entry level jobs. Sure. You know, because my little area right here, which is where my studio is where I work. It's a little happening little spot. You know, people like to go out to eat, and hang out, and so I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I made a decent amount waiting tables a few nights a week. But
Good.
anyways, that's neither here nor there. So then I was like, I can't do this anymore. I got kids, the nights and the weekends. I'm getting old. Oh, I'm so tired. So then I just went back to school for graphic design. Okay. So after I learned all the things, worked as a graphic designer for about 12 years. And then I had another baby because I like to have lots of babies, apparently. So I had another baby, and I was bored. I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. That's not my gig. I can't do it. I get bored. So I wanted to make a nursery for my baby that was super cute. And I looked at furniture prices. I was like, oh, no, 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 no. That's not going to happen. All right, we're moving on to the back. Is everybody okay, timing wise? Question
How's
wise?
everyone doing? Let us know where you're at while she finishes that last bit on the bottom.
Yeah, I'm going to finish this. But if you have other questions, we got some more sides to go, okay? Or, you know, don't be afraid to ask. I'm yapping, and that's what I do. But you're not going to hurt my feelings if you interrupt me to ask anything important, because I'm just talking about me right now. And I don't like talking about me. But
Which is what they want to hear, to tell you
right.
the truth.
I mean, you asked, I'm not obliged.
So
But
Tracy and Becky say, and Melissa all say they're doing good.
okay, that's awesome.
Keep going.
I'm chugging right along. That makes me so happy. All right, let's see. So, I was being too cheap to pay for furniture that I thought was super cute. And so I was like, you know what? I can make that. I mean, it's just an armoire. It's silver. It's got some sparkly handles. Like, I can totally do that. Went on Amazon. I got the exact same sparkly handles they were selling on the one in the furniture store. No joke. I got me a little rattle can of spray paint in silver, or 4 or 5 of them actually. And I sprayed my armoire silver, and then I slapped those bad boys on the sparkly handles. And then I was like, wow, this cost me like $60, not $1,100. So
oh wow, yeah.
So I was hooked at that point, and I wanted to spray paint everything in my site. It took a little while to get rid of the spray paint habit, but I did when I realized there was better paints out there. And by better, I don't mean better. I mean, there are, but at that point in time, by better, I mean like, you know, Michael's brand chalk paint better.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, they have some decent chalk paints. I used it for a long time, couple years. But so after I graduated from spray paint, I was like, you know what? Well, my husband was like, I don't really want you to go back to work. I want you to stay at home and enjoy your last child. Hint, hint, last child. And I'm like, oh, no, hint taken. The last one was supposed to be the last one. And the one before that was supposed to be the last one. So I was like, that's fine and all, but I still can't do this. I got to be doing something. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start this furniture paint thing in the basement.
Oh,
I set me up a workshop I thought was so cool. Like, oh, I was so proud of my little workshop. I just built a little shelf, put my like 2 power tools on it that I had and some paints, and that was my workshop. I loved it. I was so proud of myself for that. But boy, I'll tell you what, it's gotten a little out of control since then. Going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This is so soothing sometimes. I mean, if you know, once you get the hang of it, you know, I always see people on Facebook painting groups and they're like, I can't take it. I'm going to lose it. I need wine. I can't do this blending thing. I'm so stressed out, you know, that kind of thing. I'm like,
yeah, I did that before I saw your video. Yeah.
well, yeah, it's pretty common. I've been there minus the wine part. I've been there, but it's like, you know, like anything, you have to practice at it. You know, not everything comes down to everybody. So the more you practice, the better you get. And once it clicks, I mean, you don't even have to think about it. You just sit there and you do it. And tell stories about yourself while you're doing it. You don't even have to think or stress. You just do. That's when it gets to be kind of therapeutic and soothing almost, you know?
And Becky
but I feel
says,
too. A lot of people like,
and now you have a store and a studio. So awesome. That is awesome.
yeah, I'm working on my 3rd workshop, which is the basement of my studio. Store/studio. I'm making a wood shop. So it's my 3rd one that I'm outfitting with tools and all that, which is, I don't know why I do this to myself. You know, I'm like, oh, good. I got all my tools, all, you know, everything. I won't need to buy anything forever. And then I'm like, wait a minute, there's a space not being used in the basement. It's going to be a wood shop. And here I go.
So are you actually going to start building your own furniture, or is it just for redesigning other furniture?
A little bit of both. I mean, like if there's something I need that I can't find, I'll build it. Or I do a lot of woodworking as far as fixing things and
Mhm.
cutting and sanding and drilling and all that. Like I can't whip you up like a spindle chair or anything like that, nor would I want to. But basic carpentry skills. But I really like power tools is really kind of that's the main thing. Okay, so boom, that is all 4 sides and our little lip here. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and set that on my little paint cup or whatever you want to use. Like I said, I just like to keep it up because I painted those edges, right? Maybe I'll paint the bottom later, but I painted those edges, that little lip. I don't want to set them on the table. That doesn't make any sense. So there. So now we're going to move on to our top. Okay. I say we do the top, get that big mamma jamma over because it's going to be big. Is everybody fairly caught up to do the top, or should I wait? Because it's the biggest surface area. So it's the same process. It's just a bigger chunk. So I can wait if anybody needs to kind of catch up on that. Oh, and I'm going to turn my fan on the bottom of the box wall.
Perfect.
Good. Looks like Becky's good. Oh, that fan feels so good.
Your boots are so cute.
Oh,
What color are they? Is that like a metallic?
yeah, they came this way. Everyone asked me, did I paint them? There's no, I mean, I got paint on them now, but so I didn't, but they happen to be, I matched them to one of my metallic paints. They happen to be rich gold from
Wow.
Encore. So if I am worried about something I've gotten on it, I just touch it up with that. But clearly you can tell I'm not that worried about them. But when I first got them, I would touch them up with the rich gold. So kind of cool little thing I found there. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the top. Good?
Yeah, Tracy says she's good too, so keep going.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna grab a little bit more paint. Okay, so here we go. The top. From the top, we're just gonna paint on our blue. I realized recently, well, because the further along I get in my career, job, life, whatever you want to call it, the less painting I get to do, and it's really bumming me out. So I realized the other day that the only time I'm really, 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 truly happy is when I'm literally just painting. Like I can get all stressed up and tense in a ball and like verge of meltdown. And you hand me a paintbrush and something to paint, and I just shut up and I will start painting it, and it will just it's something else.
It does have a calming, meditative feel to it.
Exactly. I don't know why, but I'll take it,
Right? We all need that every once in a while.
Exactly, right. And it's better for you and cheaper than drugs too,
Oh yeah, definitely.
So I've got this fan blowing on me, but it's a good time to tell you on bigger surface areas, say this is like the top of a table. We wouldn't work in the whole top at one time. We would work in small sections. A little bigger than this, maybe about 4 times the size. That's about the size I blend at a time. Acrylic paints, I don't spray or mist water on them to keep them wet. Obviously, you need to keep them wet while you're blending. Science or common sense, but I just add more paint. See, it's drying up on me. Add more paint instead of water. I don't know why, but water just seems to dilute the acrylics rather than make them go, it doesn't behoove acrylics like it does chalky type paint. So, all right, I'm going to go ahead and dip my white in there. I'm going to leave a little bit more on my brush than I did on the sides because obviously we have a bigger area. So just starting in the middle, I'm just brushing, and then I can kind of go up and down to bring out my little oval, I guess you will, or strokes. Bring it out top, bottom, a little bit wider, a little bit shorter, a little bit wider. Okay. And that's decent. I don't have a problem with that, but I'm going to go ahead and add more white because I want more of a pop. You know, I want more drama going on there. Then that's totally a personal preference or whatever color you're using. It's up to your vision. But for this piece, I really want to do a little bit more contrast because we're going to have that stencil on here next. Okay. And for the stencil, I call it like ghosted stenciling or subtle stenciling. We're going to use the darker blue. Okay. Of these two, or the darker blue, or the blue, I guess I would say. We're going to stencil in the middle. And what happens is the stencil, since it's the same color as the edges, guess what? Fades out into the edges and it looks pretty cool. It's so simple, but people are always like, how did you do that? And I'm like, well, it's kind of easy. You wouldn't believe it. I just did this, you know, so it's easy, but it's such a cool effect, especially on like with stripes or with, you know, like a really neat stencil or something like that. Like it can look so neat on a piece of furniture or wall art or, you know, wood panel or home decor or whatever, you know, larger surface area. All right, I'll go a little bit more white. Why not? White not. Okay, so I'm just gently starting in the middle, and you know, you'll find that, you know, you start in the middle and it kind of, as you stroke, it just kind of naturally starts to take up more space. So you don't really have to, you know, how do I say this? You don't really have to bring it out so much. The white kind of naturally does it, if that makes sense. So I'm going around my track, circling the track and field day, all around, and race to the end. I win. Wipe off a brush. So if I haven't mentioned it, which I don't think I have, keep wiping your brush off when you're doing the blending, because, you know, if you have all that extra paint on there, it just pushes it around. Then you get it blending and mixing too much. And that's where a lot of people have issues, is that they'll say, it just looks like a mess. It looks muddy like a mess. You might have just had a muddy, you know, your brush had too much excess paint on it. And so you got all this paint just kind of, you know, going around and around, and then it just blends together too much and you just got a mess on your hands. So you want to blend it enough to where it just kind of fades together, but you don't want to blend it so much that it mixes completely together, because then you got, you know, you're back at one color. Oops. And what's the point of that, right? Right, I'm gonna add my little vignetting to the side because I just wanna. A little dusting in the corners. Maybe I'll just do 2 corners. Ooh, that would be fun. These bristles are killing me.
Isn't that what a chip brush does?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But, you know, believe it or not, I've had some that are not, they don't do that.
Wow.
There's some brushes, the Dixie Belle premium chip brushes. Don't tell anybody I am saying this, but they're one of my favorite brushes. I could do just about anything with those premium chip brushes. They don't shed too much, at least the ones I have gotten. And they're, I don't know, I like them. I love chip brushes. But,
Well,
you know,
once you find something that you love and it works really well, then you stick with
I
it.
know, you know, I'm not one of those people that I'm like, oh, well, I have to have this fancy brush. I mean, it was a long time before. Actually, the only time I ever got a nice brush was when I started representing Dixie Belle, and they sent a whole set of all their brushes. I was like, wow, look at these cool brushes. I don't even want to use them because they're so nice. Before that, I was, whatever, a brush is a brush. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move on my sides. We got to get those dry so we can do our strap. So let's go ahead and do this one. And again, in case, you know, sometimes it's kind of hard to remember to brush away or brush towards the edge, you know, especially in these little smaller spaces, but you don't want that. I don't know what you would call that, where the paint kind of drips off off the edge of your brush. I don't know what that's called. I'm going to have to find out what that's called. And if it's not got a name, I'm going to name it. I'm going to name it, and I'm going to send it to Webster's. And guess what? then the painting world will never be the same. And it'll be because those drippy things have a new name.
Right?
If that's how I got to leave my mark on this world, then by golly, that's how I'm going to do it. All right, let me get these little edges real quick. Okay, yeah. I like to go along them sometimes the side of my brush like that. Remember what I said, don't brush towards the tape like I just did? Yeah, you don't want to do that. Oh, I got the little gloopy things. What are we going to name those?
I don't know if gloopy things works.
Ah, whoa, sorry. Yeah, gloopy things works.
Okay.
I was hoping for a one word, but you know, whatever. I won't be picky. Maybe I'll make it one word. Gloopy things. Gloopy things, one word. I'll be famous. I'll go down in history. All right. Let's get our little bit of white. And on the sides, it's so narrow. We just need a little bit. A little bit of white. Boom. And then back and forth, back and forth. You know the drill, back and forth so it blends in nice and dreamy like.
Sandy says it's called beading.
Dang it, there is a name for it. Well, thank you for letting us know that. I learned something that I had been wanting to know since, 10 minutes ago, but that right? I feel like I should know that. Beading. I should write that down. I won't remember it. Beading. But thank you. That's awesome. Did you know that or did you look that up? I'm not judging. I'm just curious how genius you are.
Right?
I know, like, dang. Speaking of Webster's dictionary, whoopsie daisy.
She said her ex was a contractor, so she heard it from there.
Okay, I gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, good to know. I need to write that down. Beading. That way I can be like, oh, this is so beautiful, but your beading really needs to be tended to. Just kidding. That, but all right, I'm gonna grab my little paint cup, set that down for just a second. Need some more shop towels / paper towels / dish rag, whatever you're using. Hopefully not your dish rag, because at least not your church ones.
Right?
Right. To wipe off my brush. All right, we got 3 more sides left. 3 more sides left, and then we get to do. Oh, we'll do our stenciling probably because our stripes will need to dry, or our sides will need to dry for stripes. More paint, more paint, more paint. Ooh, I like this blue. It's pretty. So let's see. Jumping forward just a little bit, we're going to be doing, our stenciling, like I said. You should all have the a Finnabair 6x9 stencil. I don't know. Do you have this? I don't know if you have the same one. It doesn't really matter if you have the same one as I do, but the 6x9.
They all got the same one, yeah.
Okay. Because she's got a lot of really cool stencils, that Finnabair. And they're perfect size. Look at that. Perfect size for the top of a rock. Well, not perfect, but almost perfect, right? She's got some cool stencils. And those are the kind of stencils that do not bother me because they don't flop around everywhere and take up all the space. Ugh, tell you what. I love me some stencils, but storing them is really not the most fun thing I've ever done.
Yeah, they all got floral net, which is the one that you were holding up.
Right. Word. That's perfect. I mean, like it, we don't have to use the same thing, but it's definitely preferred, like that's cool. To be part of the cool club, whatever you guys got. I want. All right. So I'm brushing towards my edge so I don't mess up my blended top that we've already so perfectly blended. Boom. Okay. Let me get my little edge here. Boom. Well, let's just go ahead and get these little edges while we're under here. While we're under the hood, we're just going to go ahead and take care of all of it. Well, maybe not where my hand is. Maybe we'll save that one for last. Okay. White. White. Right. So again, back and forth through the center. Just easy, easy peasy. Just kind of blends right on in. It's almost not fair how easy that is, right? Like, what was that? 7 strokes. And I just got to kind of do a little, kind of round it out here thing, clean that little corner up. Actually, let's use this one. clean up the corners, make them a little more rounded, right? And that's, like, you know, I like to do that. You don't have to, but I like to, you know, when you're looking at, let's say, a light source behind like how do I want to say this? Like a diffused or filtered light source, right? It's got a rounded, you know, it's got rounded curved edges. I don't know. Let me think about how I want to explain this. Just fades out, right? Naturally. That's what light does. Think of it as a highlight. So something's, you know, with the sun or a lamp or whatever shining down on this, it's going to be a nice radius corner. You know, light doesn't create hard edges. I mean, a shadow does, but light doesn't. So it's a nice glowy surface. Does that make sense? Like a glow. Yeah. Think of a glow. All right, so we're going to move on to, all right, this side. And this is where it gets a little hairy because we're running out of places to hold our box. I'm just going to prop it up like that. And get some blue. Good thing about this paint on this raw wood is that it dries super fast. So it helps. We don't just sit there and let it dry for an hour or two before we move on to the next side. Right. Let's go and get that paint towards your edge so you don't get beading. You don't want you beading. No beading, no bueno. No beading here. There we go. Boom. All right. All right. A little bit more wide. Oh, the home stretch. We're coming in the home stretch of the paint job. Always the part that usually makes me sad, the end of the paint. But you know, I'm not too sad on this because I'm excited to do the rest of it, like stripes. I love stripes, and I love big stripes, little stripes, gold stripes, white stripes. I love all the stripes, but I especially love miniature things, tiny things, anything small, like, well, not anything small, but you know, like small furniture, tiny food, miniatures, you know, doll houses. I love those things. I don't know why. It's probably not because I'm a big kid at all, but I collect all the tiny things. So I love making tiny stripes on my tiny things. I have a jewelry box group on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
You know, for like these kinds of things. So if you're not already in it, anybody, go find it and join it. If you're interested in painting more little boxes like these, or if you already do, or if you know, or if you just want to see some pretty little painted things. Oh, that's what I should have named the group. Dang it. It's called Painted Jewelry Boxes and Other Miniatures. I mean, it's a pretty utilitarian name. I only did it because people kept asking me. I was painting like a lot of jewelry boxes for a while there. Before I moved into the studio, I busted out a lot more projects per month than I do now. I didn't have anything, you know, I was in my basement. I just paint all day and no distractions, no businessy stuff, no phone calls, none of that. I just turn my phone off and paint. But anyways, I started painting jewelry boxes and I did a lot of them in a short period. And everyone was always asking me, why isn't there a jewelry box painting group on Facebook? And I'm like, well, I don't know. And I couldn't find one either. I had tried, yeah. Couldn't find one. Come to find out, there was one, but it was private, super duper private. And the lady that runs that is like the queen of jewelry boxes. And she's actually one of my admin now. Super knowledgeable lady. Oh. But I don't even remember my point now, but oh yeah, so this group, and it's blown up. It's a pretty big group now.
Well, Gina says that's how she found you in the first place, and so glad that she did. And I posted a link to the group in the comments, you guys. So it's the second link. So go ahead and click on there if you're interested and request to join.
Yeah, somebody will just knock. Somebody will let you in soon. Three admins besides me, and they're on it, man, because I'm definitely not on it. I'm not on it at all. I can hardly find time to Facebook these days, unfortunately. I like it because I just scroll and kind of zone out, but I don't even know what zoning out is anymore. All right, so I'm just touching up these little, where my fingers kind of fingered it. And we're going back to the last side here. Yep. Last but not least, it's this little side here. Okay. So right through the center.
Becky is asking if you're ever going to start a Patreon group. Have you thought of that?
By Patreon, you mean like a membership group? I'm not super fancy with the words. Come on.
Yeah, that's one of the newer things that came out with COVID. It's a
Oh yeah, I have one. I mean, I don't charge for it anymore, but I had a membership group for like a year-ish, a little longer than that, and I decided just to make it public, or not public, it's still private, but I decided to make it free. I'm not charging for it anymore because when I started doing it, I had a lot less on my plate, and I had all the intentions of all this exclusive content and being very present, and it worked for a while, and then things just got crazy out of hand, and I was like, look, I don't have the time to dedicate to exclusive content like I wanted to. So I'm not definitely not charging you for what you're not getting. So it is, it's still there and people can still join it. I think if you go to my Facebook page, it'll say groups, you know, if you click groups, it'll pull up all my groups, the jewelry box group, it's, oh my gosh, why am I spacing the name of it even? Furniture artisan, paint, oh my gosh, furniture artisans and painters or something. I don't know. It's on my page. If you really want, you can.
I'm sure you have a lot of groups that you have to.
My own. I only have a few, but I'm in a lot of groups. That's for sure. So many groups. Okay. All right. I think we are good. At least I am. So I will see what you guys are. How you guys are feeling about your paint job, and if we're ready to move on. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the fan on that real quick while I get my stencil stuff ready. If you're not quite there yet, just holler and I can kind of buy some time by cleaning up my mess here. Let's see, we got a stencil. So if anybody's still finishing up your box, that's fine. We're gonna need our stencil next. And when I stencil, I like to spray adhesive, mist spray adhesive on the back lightly. Already did that before they started the video. This is such a small project. You don't need much. And you just want it to dry to where it's tacky, right? A little sticky, not wet, because then it'll leave glue on your piece. Not dry, because then it won't do anything at all. Just tacky, right? Just a little tacky. Like me, my favorite, just a little tacky. Actually might hit it one more time real quick. I just use Aleene's tacky glue or Elmer's Super 77, whatever. It doesn't have to be stencil adhesive glue, which they do sell. And that's fine, but I'm one of those people, I'm like, well, they're just labeling it as stencil adhesive glue, so they're gonna charge more for it. So I'm just gonna get regular glue. But it works. Just let it dry to a tack, which it will, because I got this fan blowing on us. So you want your stencil. If you want to mist the back a little bit with some spray adhesive, lightly, very, very lightly, very lightly. It won't pull up your paint, especially on these because they're raw wood. But on your piece of furniture, if you stuck to that, if you're doing a big stencil on like a dresser or something, it won't pull up your paint if you let it dry to a tack after you misted it, and B, if you've prepped well. So, you know, if you paint over some laminate with just paint and then try to stencil, it's probably going to definitely almost every time pull up your paint. But give us, you know, a scuff sand if you've primed, you know, everything you need to do to properly prep your whatever you're starting with, furniture, jewelry box project. Usually I like to use a little dense foam roller with my stencil. Oh, that one's seen better days. Looks like it's moldy, but we all know that's not the case. I like these little dense 4-inch rollers. This is a Prima one, but you can probably get them on Amazon or whatever. They're foam, right? So they don't have a lot of squish, which is good. You don't want a lot of squish on your stenciling, because that's how you get the, okay, no, it's not going to be called the beading, but the bleeding, okay? The beading and the bleeding. But we're going to use chip brushes since that's probably what you have. But if you have a foam roller, I do highly suggest it.
So Tracy wants to know, did you clean your stencil from the February class or did you open a new one? So that's stencil right there.
Well,
you clean your stencil.
you know, I'm going to be honest. I I cleaned it, which I never do. I never clean stencils. I just keep going and going and going until you pitch them, you know, until they're not usable anymore. I let them dry, but this one was so small. It just was easy to clean with my scrubby soap. So I did it. But I had like 4 sample boxes. And this is not the only one I used on each one. So kind of yes and no to your question. This is one from February, but I've used several of these on this little class deal.
She said LOL. How's everyone doing? Are you at the stencil point?
I can wait. Just let me know. I'm just gonna go ahead and set that right there.
Becky and Tracy are ready, so go ahead.
Cool. Okay, so since we've got our, you know, spray adhesive, if you decided to do that, let it dry to attack. See how it just kind of holds it in place a little bit? That's good. That's good stuff, because then you have a less chance of the bleeding. Okay. You can also tape it in place if you want. You don't have to. And a lot of times, I usually buy my stencils in like multiples so that I can cut them to fit whatever surface I'm doing, or, you know, in a corner or an edge or whatever. I like them to fit, but this, I'm just going to line up one corner. Okay. So that way I have somewhere to kind of tape it or hold it or whatever. And loosely hanging and floating above, but that way I can kind of just, you know, hold it from that corner and make sure it stays put. Let's see. Oh yeah, so it doesn't really matter that there's this border, because like I said, we're using the darker color that's on the edge anyways. So the point is that once, you know, we do our darker color in the center, it'll look kind of ghosted or subtle. So I told you I usually use a roller, but since it didn't come in our kits, I'm not going to demo with that. I'm just going to use another chip brush. But we talked about dry brushing earlier. And that's basically exactly what we're going to do to the stencil. We're just going to load a little bit up on the tip of our brush, and we're going to kind of just unload / smash it in the bristles. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to get it up in those bristles a little bit more, but we're also getting rid of excess. So yeah, basically dry brushing. I don't ever stencil brush. I don't ever stencil with a brush. I mean, just I am for this class because the roller was not really part of the, it wasn't really feasible. So, but I mean, I do know how, so that's what we're going to learn. Brush stenciling on a little box. So you're going to take your, you know, offloaded brush that you're essentially dry brushing, and you just kind of like dab at the stencil. Okay. You don't really want to brush back and forth like that, because then you get that bleed underneath, or at least increase the chances of it. You know, before I started using a foam roller for stenciling, I didn't stencil very much because it's kind of tedious, if I'm being honest. That, or I'm just really impatient. I'm going to bet on I'm just really impatient, but you've got to get in there, pounce at it. May have to go over it a few times, but you know, taking your time and doing it like this is better than getting a gross, yucky edge stencil. Am I right? So we're just going to kind of pounce our way all over the surface. And I tell people all the time, because it's true. I'm a huge fan of kind of like an aged, eroded kind of look. So most of the time when I stencil, regardless of whether it's this little guy or, you know, a big piece, I don't fill in the whole thing perfectly usually. Like I usually leave little spots, like, you know, little spots here and there that are, ouch, hold my hair. Little spots here and there that are, you know, randomly missing, I guess. Well, I don't know. How do I don't know how to, well, I can't use my words today. I don't know why. I'm missing my words. You know, it looks a little more distressed, I guess. But that's totally a personal thing. You can fill it all the way in if you want. But just make sure you're dabbing. Pouncing. That's the name of the game when we're brush stenciling. They make fancy little round stencil brushes. They're round and they got a flat top, you know, to pounce like that. I almost prefer to use one of these chip brushes, to be honest, but to each her own, right? Variety is the spice of life, but this works just fine. It just takes a little bit longer. Everybody okay on the stenciling? No burning questions, desires, qualms? Please. Complaints? Okay, cool. Well, okay, of course, you're good. Do you have that on copy and paste? I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. That's what I like to see. I mean, not that.
No questions.
Okay, cool.
You're doing good.
Oh man, let's see. Whoa. Oh. All right, I've almost got mine all the way filled in. Some parts are a little more filled in than others because, like I said, I like the imperfectly kind of aged look, but that's just me. All right, so once you got your top all dabbed, stippled, pounced, whatever you want to call it, stabbed, jabbed, poked, bounced. I know so many words for similar things. So boom, 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 boom. Get a little last little jab for measure. All right, so when I pull up my stencils, this one's not such a big deal. I'm just going to flip it up, but big stencils, I like to pull them from two sides up and out. That way you don't smudge your impression, but this one's a little tiny guy. So I'm just going to flip it up like that. Ooh, look at that floral net, boys and girls.
Pretty.
Floral net. Yes, we've got our floral net. So now you can see the ghosted or subtle stenciling effect that happens when you blend to the center, or blend out from the center or to the center, whatever you want to call it. And then you use that same color as your outside. I love, it's one of my favorite things to do. I mean, it's just paint and stencil, but it's so fun. All right, so that's going to dry rather quickly, but you should have washi tape, but I will wait until everyone's ready and done pouncing and bouncing and smashing their brush into their stencil.
Becky said that hers smeared.
When you took the stencil up, did it smear? I mean, obviously, I guess that's a silly question.
Yeah.
So you might have used too much paint in your brush. It needs to be a little bit drier than that. If you want to, after that dries, you can always, is it the whole thing smeared or just a little spot? If the whole thing smeared, I mean, obviously starting over is an option, or after it dries, take your other stencil and go pounce around the center with that, like a light blue or the white. And then you'll get, it won't be exactly like this, but it'll be very similar.
She said just a spot. And okay.
I would let it dry and just stick a flower on it. Right? Stick a flower on.
Try it.
All right. So let's see. I think you have 1/2-inch tape. Is that right?
Yeah, the washi tape. Yeah.
Okay. I've got 1/2-inch and 1/2-inch and that looks like 1/4 inch. Let's do 1/2-inch. I like proportionate stripes. When I wrote this class down, I had originally asked for 1-inch tape only because I was trying not to be needy. 1-inch tape for the edges of this is a little big, little not proportionate in terms of my personal preferences. You can see how fat those stripes would have been. It's fine, it works, but I like proportionate stripes. So 1/2-inch is good. When Elena said that we were going to use 1/2-inch or we were able to get 1/2-inch for this class, I was ecstatic. Yay! Proportionate stripes. My life is complete.
Right. Becky says she's gonna put her transfer over it. That's exactly what I'll do.
Yep, that's what I'm picking up. What I'm putting down, lady. All right, so I'm gonna dump my brushes in the water. No, I'll probably actually just pitch them, but who knows? Waste not, want not, right? All right, so if we're ready to do stripes, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Unless you say no, don't, then I'll wait. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. So okay, so this is kind of important. Somebody didn't listen to me last time. It might have been Elena that didn't listen last time. I don't know. I don't know. She was too busy probably trying to answer questions and stuff, do that mock thing. So I start from the middle. Okay, so if I'm going all the way around, anything, a top or anything like that, if I'm going all the way around, I start from the middle of the front. The money shot, right? Where people look at that first, usually. So I start right from the middle, and then I work my way around all the way to the back, because I want to get it as symmetrical as possible. It's not always possible because math, but I try. And then once you get around to the back, if you have like one odd shaped stripe, that's way more doable in my book than odd shaped stripes on every corner. Okay. I remember I told you I like imperfect. I like imperfect things, not when it comes to stripes. I'm not imperfect about stripes. I can't help it. I'm very, very.
I have to agree with you there.
I can't. I could tell you some ones I've seen that I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't even. Do you have eyeballs? I like them to be the same width apart, the same, the same width as the stripe or the tape or whatever, equal, pleasing. It's pleasing. So you can measure to the center of your piece of furniture or your edge of your box here. I don't measure. I'm just using my little holes from my hardware. See how you just can center it right in between those holes. If you took yours off, if not, you want to go right over it, right? But you see those little hardware holes on each side from the screws? I'm just going on each side of those, or right through the center, as center as I can. And that's where I'm going to start. Then I like to tell people, I eyeball it, to be honest, but I'll be good and I'll show you how to use a spacer. So take a little piece of tape, line it up right next door, right? That way you know how far apart to put your tape. Boom. Okay, so I like to go back and forth, side to side. Okay, so I could go all the way that way, but since I eyeball it, I usually get kind of off by the time I'm on this side. So I like to go back and forth. It helps me to keep my symmetry much easier and the fastest. So I move my little spacer over. And
that's a great tip.
Oh, the little tape spacer?
Yes.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm not real great with numbers or math or anything like that. So rulers and measuring to me, it's not my favorite. It's not that I can't do it. It's not my favorite. This is so much faster. Okay, so pull up my spacer. Then I'm going to go to the other side. Okay, so we're just going to keep going back and forth till we get to the end. And should we end up on the end with a uneven stripe that's not the same size as the others, and I will show you what I like to do about that in order to keep a visually appealing, little row of stripes. I've seen people start on the outsides, and by the time they get to the inside, it's like they have one tiny stripe or one big fat stripe, and I'm like, right in the middle, right in the smacker? That's why I start in the front and work my way around.
So what made you think of using washi tape instead of blue tape?
Well, I told you about the jewelry box kind of run. I mean, I still do them, but like not as much as I did. So I was doing a lot of them, and I was sick of trying to cut blue tape or painter's tape in quarters or halves. And true story, I have a giant box of washi tape at home because I don't really use it for anything except for this. But prior to even painting furniture, I was collecting it for some reason. So I have this huge box of washi tape at home, and it was just sitting there, and I was like, wait a minute, what? I don't want to just use that. That's it. That's my story. I love washi tape. I don't know why. All the different colors and patterns and tiny rolls. I just like it. I never used it for anything. I just collected it.
So Carrie Ann, who's in Norway, she's saying goodnight again. I really love this class too. I have made more of the
Oh,
boxes after the first class already. I hope to see you all again soon, and I hope we can stay in touch via Facebook and Instagram. Maybe we can share Insta names on the page. Have a
oh,
lovely rest of the class, everyone. So good night,
thank
Carrie
you
Ann.
so much. Have a good night. Thank you. That's sweet. I wonder what time it is in Norway.
Yesterday she left around 11 o'clock at night. So
So what is it
this is the
here? It's like,
afternoon class too.
oh, it's 6 o'clock here. Wow, we are like killing it on time. That's good. All right, so I'm at my last little stripe. You
She
see how I have
said
that?
it's midnight there.
Oh, what? Party's just getting started. That's when I like wake up. That's when I like start clicking on all fours or on all cylinders, like
Right?
in the middle, right around 9, 10, 11 at midnight. I'm really going. I get all kinds of stuff done. But yeah, during the day, I'm not really actually awake until around 4 or 5, and even then it's like groggy. I don't know. Even if I go to sleep at a normal time, which I've been trying to do.
It's hard
Okay.
when you have kids, right?
It is, but at the same time, that's the only time they're all asleep and quiet, not snacks and the potty and this or that. So you can actually focus. Okay, see our corner here? How we got that little stripe that is not the same size as the others. It's gonna drive me nuts. So here's what I do about that. It's obviously it's not gonna adjust the size because the size of the box is the size of the box, but visually it's gonna make it more appealing. Okay, I'm gonna take my spacer and I'm just gonna put it right next to it like I have been. And then I'm just gonna wrap it around. Okay, so our stripe's basically gonna wrap around. So you still get the same width stripe. It's just a little, turned. It's turned. You know what I mean? That makes sense. So here, let me put this one on so I can show you what I mean by. Okay, so let me pull my spacer off now, my corner spacer. Okay, so see how it's still a different size stripe on this side and the side, but when you're looking at it, that's way more appealing, right? Than just having one really tiny stripe that cuts off right there.
That's
So
so
like,
smart.
what's that?
So smart.
Yeah, it's just, it just, sometimes, you can't get everything perfect. So you have to do what makes sense visually, like aesthetically, not mathematically, And now I'm not just saying that because I don't like math. It's the truth. Not an excuse. No, I used to, when I was a designer, I used to, graphic designer, I used to design vehicle wraps, the kind like the vinyl that covers the car with, pictures or words or whatever. We had this installer that would install them on cars, which is very meticulous, by the way. I wouldn't want to do it, but obviously I told you my school of thought on just visually looking good, centered, matching, whatever, like that's what matters is how it appears, right? He would get down and measure and be like, okay, first of all, on this side, it's this measurement. On the other side, it's 1/8 of an inch higher on this side. And I'm like, really? Like, okay, I mean, that's fine. I believe you, but like, it doesn't, who's going to see 1/8 of an inch? Not to mention, you can only see one side of a car at a time, right? You can't see both sides of a car at one time. So 2 inches off for all I care. Leave me alone. I'm working.
That would have been me, actually. I did major in math, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would have
Wow.
been persnickety like that. Yes.
People are, it's okay. People are, that's why whenever I like tutorials and I'm telling people about how I eyeball it, I'm always like, what, that's just me. I eyeball it. I'm not suggesting you eyeball it. You should get out a measuring tape and measure it if you are so inclined, but I'm not gonna, because I eyeball it.
Right.
And it's not because I'm lazy. It's just because, when it comes down to it, it's kind of like what matters is how it appears, right? But I'm not a math person, so of course that's how I think. All right, so are we good on the corner idea, how that works? Or does anybody have any questions on that?
Are you guys getting the taping down? Tracy said yes.
Ooh. Majored in math? How and what? How do you
Right.
major in
And
math?
I minored in photography. So, you know,
Oh, okay. You're all over the place, but
I
that's okay.
am completely and utterly.
Well-rounded. That's the way to be. Well-rounded. But what did you want to teach math or just like
It was the easiest classes I took my first year in college, and it just came so easy to me. I was like, oh, might as well.
Mm-mm.
And then I was thinking of becoming an actuary, but you know, that didn't actually work. So,
It actually didn't actually happen.
right.
Well, you know, as long as you are content, that's what matters, right?
That's all that matters.
Well, I didn't tell you this, but before I went to school for interior design, I was pre-dental.
You're pre what?
Pre-dental.
Oh,
Yeah, because I had wanted to be an orthodontist since I was like, I don't know, like 15. Most of my life, most of my childhood, I wanted to be a teacher, like most girls do or used to, anyways. I don't know what they want to be now, but you know, we all wanted to be teachers. And then after that, I wanted to be an artist because I always liked art and I was always doing something. I was always doing something, but something creative. But so then I wanted to be an artist. But then when it came time to actually start thinking about what career you want to be when you grow up, like, you know, high schoolish, early high school, I was like, I want to be an orthodontist. That was the dumbest. It wasn't a waste of time because I got all my prerequisites out of the way. So that was fun. But yeah, I'm so glad that didn't pan out. Ooh, can you imagine like looking in people's mouths all day long every day? If anyone here is an orthodontist or dentist, I'm sorry, not knocking it. I'm just saying I couldn't do it.
right.
You can't pick and choose whose mouths you're in all day, you know? As a dentist, you can be like, you, not you. Same
right.
same with like a pedicurist or manicurist. You can't like turn people away. Like, sorry, we don't serve your kind here. Like, no way.
You're so funny.
News. You'd be on the news in a heartbeat. Why do I keep getting rid of my spacer? Okay. Oh, I think I got one more. So
Becky said she's in IT and she couldn't do mouths. Nope. And Tracy says she only had 1-inch tape, so it doesn't take long to tape.
aw.
And Gina says this is exactly what you were designed to do, CeCe.
Wait, what'd she say?
This is exactly what you are destined to do.
Oh, I 100%. I realize that, you know, every day, you know, with the interior design, the, you know, interiors and furniture and the design aspect, then the graphic design, many of the things that I do on my furniture, I got the idea from car wraps. And you know, those guys that wrap cars, they're into all these optical illusions and matte on flat or matte on gloss. And like, they're into like the newest next best thing. Like they don't want to do the same thing the next guy did. Never. Like they got egos like that. You know, I'm not saying that a bad way. They don't want to do anything twice. So,
Right.
you know, this is actually where that came from. What's the, something I learned in wrapping cars, the ghosted. But anyways, so, oh, look how the side worked out. Perfect. So, let's see. I'm going to go ahead and bust out this other side real quick. I'm not going to do the back just for the class and timing purposes. Not that I'm rushing, but you can imagine what the back will look like. So I'm going to go ahead and get this side real quick and then move on.
I know Tracy said she was done. So how's everybody else doing?
Wait, why didn't Tracy why didn't she have washi tapes in her kit? Did she not have a kit?
I am not sure. She might have done it previously. She might have done it the first time, and this is the second.
Okay. Well, dang it. You should have let me know, because did I tell you how much washi tape I had at home?
Let's see. Becky says, I hate tape. Tracy says she worked at the dental school for 10 years, then at a private dental practice for 10 years, but in the front office.
Ooh, fancy.
Wow. And Melissa says that she's almost done. Oh, good job. Okay.
Cool. Well, I'm almost done too, so we're on track. So after I get these last couple little stripey guys down, I'm going to take okay, hold on. You can take a popsicle stick, a credit card, a fingernail, a, penny, a transfer tool, take something rigid. And I like to go over the edges of my tape. because we spent all this time making these beautiful little stripes and we're not gonna want them gloopy, okay? Gloopy and not crisp. We want them as crisp AF, okay? We want them like that. So I'm gonna take my, oh, I gotta show you guys something. Well, first, go
Sorry
ahead.
to hear that, Tracy. She said she got the second kit and all she got was the painter's tape.
Well, you know, I'm sorry if,
It still looks beautiful.
yeah, I'm trying to think of how, so you got 1-inch tape. So if you had, hold on, I'm not a
No worries.
math person. Huh?
No worries, she said.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say I have all sizes washi tape. So someone would have to tell us what size would go inside of the 1-inch tapes to make them all equal. But I don't know what that would be. 1/4 inch, maybe. I don't know. So if you have one of these from a transfer, if you know, transfer gal, you can use this. Just go over the edge of your tape real quick. Make sure it's down, or you can use a fingernail. Sometimes I find the fingernail a little bit too sharp, so something a little more blunt, like this guy, would be great. And don't worry about scratching your paint so much. It might scratch a little like that, but we're gonna paint it, so I mean, it won't show, right? And then let me
have that tool inside of your transfer. So if you open your transfer and tip it over, it should fall out.
Genius, so smart. I didn't even think about that fact that they have a whole transfer tube. But if you're, guess what? I got these new. These are brand new. Okay, so you might call it an ice scraper, right? I call it a transfer tool.
Ooh,
fancy, right? I ordered a bunch of them at Swag. So I don't know if you are familiar with the Pinners Conference or not. Obviously, you know what Pinterest is. Everybody does. But the Pinners Conference, which happens a few times a year, is like live Pinterest, right? It's like
wow.
DR7, right? So they're doing one in Indianapolis in October, which is A, my birthday month, and B, where they're having it is like in my backyard, literally. It's like maybe 5-minute drive from where I'm sitting right now. So that's cool, right? I'm so excited. The Pinners Conference in my backyard.
Wow, that's fun.
My point is, I got these because I'm gonna have a little shindig, I think. And so whoever comes gets swag, including an ice scraper. I mean, transfer tool.
But can be used as an ice scraper.
Absolutely. I'm all about multi-use tools. So we're just going over the edges of our tape. Okay. I'm so in love with my little transfer tool, not ice scraper. I like it. It's the little things, right?
Always.
Okay, so I think we're good. Oh, you should have a champagne gold from Decor Art, one of the sponsors of the Art Venture. So generously providing paints and metallics and all the fun things. I love this metallic, actually. I'm showing you on my other box. So I think this is 1-inch tape. So Tracy, it's not so bad, right? Doesn't look bad at all. I'm just very particular and probably too much. But look at the that's not it. Look at the champagne gold from Art Deco that we're using. I'm pretty sure that's what you got, right? Look how spaggly it is. Isn't that pretty? And that's just one quick coat. Like I didn't even do 2. So pretty.
It turns out so gorgeous. It has a great metallic sheen to it.
It does. And I noticed also is that if you look real close, it's the metallic, but that's got little like glitters in it, almost like sparkles of glitter you can see. So I love that. Anything shiny or sparkly's got my name written all over it. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and I don't know. I know you didn't get an extra brush just for this. I hate to assume, but I'm gonna really hope that everyone has another brush that's clean of your own, maybe, or you can always wash out one of your chip brushes if that's if that's necessary. But unless someone says otherwise, I'm pretty sure that you'll have a little art brush or something, right? Some kind of brush.
She has her own. They should. I believe it was on the supply list.
Okay. I don't even remember it last time asking, so I don't.
Let me see. It just said preferred brushes optional. So
Okay, well, hopefully everyone has a brush for their gold. If not, holler and I'll give you some alternatives, okay, to use as brushes. Cool. Because, you know, there was this one time where I did this mystery box live for Dixie Belle. So they sent me a box of products. I didn't know what was in it. They just sent it to me and I had to go on live with my little end table or whatever I wanted to paint, open it up, and whatever was in the box is what I was allowed to use to paint with, right?
wow.
Well, they didn't give me a brush.
Uh-oh.
So I was like, you know what? We're doing this right, because they have moderators, right? So if someone was like, oh, you can use a brush, it's okay. We just forgot to put a brush in there. I was like, oh no, I'm doing this right. Okay. We said whatever was in the box is what I get to paint with, and that's what we're doing. So I did this whole piece with no brush. It wasn't my best work ever, I'll tell you that, but it sold. Somebody bought it.
That's amazing. And
It was
Becky has her own brush too, but
very
that's
good.
amazing.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun actually. But what made me think of that was somebody said, use your hair in the comments. Yeah, that's probably not going to happen, but
What did you end up using to put the paint on?
I tore off a little bit of cardboard box.
Nice.
There was some, you know, that craft paper that they stuff in there to kind of, you know, instead of bubble wrap or whatever, or peanut, that craft paper. I wadded some of that. So I did some old wadded up paper, 80s like pouncy kind of stuff. And then I used a cardboard, which actually one of my favorite techniques is the scraping on or smear method. So I had this little chunk of cardboard and I would dip it in the paint and smear on, you know, drag my paint on, and it's a really cool look. Actually, I do it a lot, but with a wood block, not cardboard, but anything flat and rigid really works.
That's
okay, so it was pretty cool. But yeah, no, the technique I do a lot actually. It's fun and it's like no talent required. So, all right, I'm
she often looks like she uses her hair. I often look like I'm using my hair to paint.
I hear ya. Trust me, I'm used to having paint in my hair. It's funny to me when people go, you have paint in your, and I'm like, I don't, and what? I don't care. I'm used to it by now. What? You have paint on your cheek or in your hair, and I'm like, okay. Well, you don't, so no, I'm just so used to it, it doesn't bother me, you know. I'm painting one direction, or not one direction, but with the tape, okay? And I want to assume that you're noticing that or know that already, but I'm painting with it because same with the stencil, you know, you don't want to go against the tape and get that uncrisp, we want crisp, so we don't want it squirting or, you know, going underneath bleeding underneath the tape. My English is terrible today, gosh. So with the tape, and again, be careful. You don't want bleeding on the top. I meant to tell you this and I forgot. Shoot. I mean, it's okay, but if you don't want to worry about the beading on the top, you just take a piece like that, you know, and you just tape off your top. Tape off your top, not take off your top. We don't want you to take that off. We want you to tape it off. That way you don't have to worry about your beading on the top. See what I mean? There we go. Easy peasy, just like that. But I'm sorry I forgot to tell you that before, but it's probably not too late. I don't know, unless you're Speedy Gonzalez on your stripes. So this is one coat. Yes, I will finish the rest, but I am looking at the one coat. Not so bad, huh?
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does look pretty good. I might do another one because if I look real close, I see some spots that are a little less opaque for my taste, but we'll see. We'll see how time is treating us too. This is Sunday, you know, so I don't know what I was thinking, but I never thought to myself, it never even crossed my mind that this class would be on the Sunday night. Like earlier in this week, because I got the dates right. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's fine. because I just assumed it would be Saturday. I don't know why I assumed that, but I did. I was like, oh yeah, I don't got anything going on that weekend. But then earlier this week, I was like, wait a minute, that's a Sunday. Okay, well, I'll just be really busy Sunday, no biggie. But then like yesterday, I was looking at the time and I'm like doing the math for like, wait a minute. I have a live right after that, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind. Just need some water for my throat talking. And I don't like to hear myself talk this much, but whatever, not an option. But yeah, so today was a busy one. It was
What are you doing for your live?
So last week on my Sunday Night Live, we started a like a cabinet type thing where we actually did there's some insert panels in the back of the cabinet, right? Like China cabinets and such. They have well, I had to cut a new one, so I cut that, and we actually did that scrapey method that I was just telling you about, among other things, on that panel. So basically, I'm not going to tell you what I call this technique. I call it the throw a bunch of SHIT at it, paint over it, and sand it down method, right? I mean, I don't really tell people that like in public, but basically that's what you do. So you stencil and you scrape and you layer, okay? Layer all your elements on top of each other, let it dry, more elements, let it dry, more elements. So layering, texture, that's all the things that, you're going for. Mm-hmm. So then I take a 50-50 mix of water and, usually a light color, but whatever color. And then it makes a wash. So then I wash over the whole thing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's kind of almost transparent, but not quite, over the whole thing. And then I take a sander or a sanding block, whatever, depending on how strong I'm feeling that day or how much energy I have. But then I sand down most or parts or all of it. And it exposes all those little bits and things of, those layers underneath. Will expose various parts of those layers. So you get this really neat kind of look of like, say, like an old wall in like Italy or something, and it had been painted, then wallpapered, then painted again 5 times over the last like 200 years or whatever. And all that starts to kind of age, disappear, erode in spots, and you can see through all those layers. Similar kind of thing, if that makes sense. Yeah. So it's a neat kind of faux old world look. But you can use any colors, any stencils, transfers, tissues, pastes. The scraping block I like because it creates texture. I use crust or sea spray or any of those additives that create like a gritty kind of texture. And that way, when you sand it, because of the texture and the grit, when you sand it in the end, it only catches those parts that are sticking up, right? So it looks super aged, and it's just really fun. It's just so fun.
That's awesome. So now you do something every Sunday night, and where would they catch that? Is that on your home?
Yeah. So on Sunday night at 8 p.m. EST on the Paint Couture Paint Facebook page. But my VA shares it to my page and CeCe Resell page and a bunch of other painting pages. It probably gets deleted, but whatever. He shares it all over the place. So yeah. Okay, I'm gonna just go over these one more time real quick, just for a little bit of opacity, because I love bling, 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 all the things. But we're doing good on time. Like we're rocking and rolling. We're not time. We're efficient.
Doing. Is everyone at the same place? Everybody's too busy painting to answer, CeCe.
Well, I guess that's a good, I mean, no answer, I guess, is better than a.
They're with you. Tracy and Melissa are both doing their second coat, and Becky said she's done. So that's great.
Oh, awesome. All right. Well, I'm going to slap on this little second coat real quick. It's not imperative. I just, already got the tape on, so I'm going to make it work to my benefit. Painting in the direction of the tape.
It's Elena.
Hi, Elena.
Hey.
Long time
How's it going?
Chat.
I'm gonna need one of those ice scrapers.
Oh,
Right.
girl, send me your address. I got other stuff too. I got other swag.
Hey,
Oh, that's
swag is
awesome.
fun.
All my.
All the goodies.
Mm-hmm.
That is
True.
like, I think my favorite gold right there that you're using.
Yes, it
It's
is
so
great.
creamy, right? It's like a creamy gold.
It yes, and it's the perfect amount of sparkle. Like it's not
Mhm.
like child craft glitter, but it's not like just a subtle pearly. It's a both. It's like pearly metallic, and it's got chunks
Yeah.
of glitter, like very fine chunks of sparkle in it. See that? I was looking at it closer.
Yeah.
Just like very fine silver, almost chunks of. I don't know.
Yeah.
Floats my boat. I like it. We're gonna let it dry.
It's got some special shimmer going on.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm gonna need one of those in a 1-gallon bucket.
Yeah, no problem.
Don't you have somebody for
Um,
that? I'm just kidding.
Can I just tell you that this is our last art venture class? This is it.
Party.
I
Are you sad?
know.
Or are you gonna throw a
No,
party?
I mean, I think everybody's a little bummed because
Yeah.
it's been going on for so long, but I'm super excited for it to be done and move on to the next one, right?
Right. Break, a little breather, and then move on.
Yeah.
You know, we should do another one with new classes, all new kits, all new stuff.
That's what we're working on. And I'll be in touch with you, girl.
I was gonna say, no, not all new teachers. Just all
No,
new
no,
stuff.
not all new teachers.
Not now, huh? I'm just kidding.
Well, we will be in touch, but I just wanted to pop in and say hi. And
Yeah. Hello.
everyone has loved your class. Did you get a chance to look at your survey?
No, because remember, didn't I get sent the one that was blank or someone else's or something like that?
All right, Jamie can probably resend that to you. People said nice things about you. I don't know, they like you.
All right, that's weird, but
I
okay,
know.
I'll take it. I know it is.
Anyway, you're so awesome, CeCe. Thank you so much
Oh,
for doing this.
I
And
appreciate it.
you guys have an awesome class.
You too. I hope you're good. Everything good in your world, I hope.
Everything is well. Everybody is doing very well. And I just wanted to say hi. So you guys have fun. Thank you, CeCe, so much.
All right, thank you. Enjoy your night.
Lena. Okay.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna put my fan on just a little higher to dry those stripes. Since I did 2 coats, it might take just a tad longer than the first coat or the blue, but I'm gonna go ahead and take my tape off. I take my tape off when it's usually when my stripes are wet still. People are always like, you take it off when it's wet? And I'm like, yeah, am I not supposed to? There's something I don't know. Oh shoot,
Right.
I didn't go underneath. Dang it. I'm sorry. I'm fired. Worst teacher ever. Okay, well, I didn't go underneath on my little lip here. So why don't I just do that real quick? Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do it real quick. But if you want to, I suggest doing the little lip around here, okay? I'm sorry I didn't mention that before. But it's up to you. Let's see how it looks without it. I think it'll be all right. But some of us on the OCD side of things would prefer that to be wrapped around, but it looks good.
Melissa said she did it already, so that's good.
Good. See, I'm glad you were thinking it. Don't look so bad, right?
Yeah, looks good.
Bleed under. Okay, so let it dry. I mean, you can try to take your fingernail and clean up the little blob so it's not like textured, but let it dry for sure. Let it dry and then just go back and touch it up with the lighter, the blue and or white.
Yeah, Becky says she'll let it dry and then she'll repaint.
Or is it all your tapes or just one little spot? If it's all of them,
Did a few.
a few. Dang. Let's see.
Because she says she hates tape.
It's what? What is it?
She said because I hate tape.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, if it did that to me, I'd hate it too. If it's just a couple of spots, a few little spots, I'm just gonna say we'll stick a transfer over it. But
Right.
it's if you want to, you know, go back and fix it later, but just make sure that, you know, you burnish the edges of your tape down like I showed you. I don't know if you did or not, or if not, maybe you have a washi tape that's not quite as sticky. Yeah, let's just blame the tape.
Right. Well, she said her washi tapes hates me, LOL. And then she said I did in regards to burnishing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I figured. I mean, so, yes, I've noticed some of the washi tapes that are barely sticky. Like they're barely adhesive at all. And I don't know, this was one of mine. I don't know which kind you got exactly, but.
She said agreed. I'm blaming it on the tape. So
Tape, darn tape, stupid tape.
Tape error.
Tape error. User is a goddess. Look at that. Oh my gosh. As this gold dries, are you not seeing how pretty this gold is as it dries? It's like bling, bling.
Oh, that looks great on the camera when you do that. Oh my goodness.
Isn't it pretty? This reflectivity. That's what I call it. That's not a word that I know of, but one of the guys I used to work with would call it that. Reflectivity. I'm like, okay, well, I'm using it. So I think these are dry underneath. Basically, once your stripes are all dry, I'm going to stick mine on the fan for just another minute because you cannot transfer on wet paint. So even if it's dry to the touch, if it's not dry underneath the, you know, your stripes, your transfer will just pull up. It's not going to stick. So we're going to give that an extra minute or two. We got time. We're good. While we get our transfer all ready to go. So let's see. Let's minimize the amount of things in my way.
Well, since we're waiting for paint to dry, why don't we pause the recording for 5 minutes and everybody can have a potty break and finish your painting and drying, and we'll come back in 5 minutes.
You are genius. I'm telling you what.
Sound good?
That's a great idea.
And you can clean up your area and do whatever you need to do.
Yes.
Right. We'll be right back.
Cool. It's forever when you're. All right, recording in progress. We should have lavender bush transfer, which is different from the last class. Everybody wanted flowers in the last class, and it's probably because I snuck some in on my sample. Silly me. I can never just follow instructions. I always got to be extra about it. So lavender bush, the reason why I chose this one was because it's one of my favorite transfers, and the fact that it's got little flowers, or all different size flowers. So they're really good for, you know, all different size projects like little boxes. So if you have other transfers, you want to throw in there, go for it. Chop and place and customize as much as you want and put on whatever you want. But I'm going to stick with the one from the kit because last time I deviated from that, I got a little bit of flack for it, but that's okay. So this transfer, lavender bush, see, it's got these little flowers and then, you know, clusters, little leafy greens, little clusters of little guys, different sizes, perfect for this and perfect for, you know, kind of building up a little area on your box of flowers, right? It also has text. Okay, it's got this scripty text, which if anyone notices anything weird about the text on this transfer, let me know. I'm not going to say what it is because I'm not. But if anyone notices, I would love for you to tell me that you noticed, and we'll see if we're talking about the same thing because it's very interesting. Anyways, we got scripty text. We got big old text. See, in different colors, different fonts, different colors. I don't know what it means, but they make a really nice texture. They look pretty mixed in with the flowers, layered in with the flowers, and so that's what we're going to do. While you were gone, I went ahead and put my hinges back on. You don't have to do that. I mean, if you want, you could even tape your, you know, just put a little piece of tape there. I just like it to hold together somewhat while we're putting our transfers on there. So holding it together is fine, but I'm not that careful, so I need the extra support. We're going to go ahead and start with a little chunk of text, the scripty text. I like to layer my transfers. I find that the text in different sizes, shapes, colors, fonts, it creates texture, right? You're not going to sit there and read it like a book. I mean, you shouldn't, but it's more for you know, appearance sake. And then some flowers and then a little more text. I like to layer. Okay. Layering is my jam. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out this little chunk of script. May not use the whole thing, but I'm going to cut it all out. There's a couple ways you can cut your transfer. I don't know if you know this or not. Ooh, be very careful that the backing paper does not fly up your transfer. I've ruined a couple that way. And I'm going to assume, or at least go off the fact that you're familiar with the transfer and what it is, that it rubs on and all that. So I'm not going to get too crazy into that. If I'm wrong and you're like, what is she talking about? Slow down. Just say it in the comments and I will backtrack a little bit. But I think you mostly know what they are. So I cut them out like this, okay? Out of the sheet. You can also cut just the clear part. If you're very careful with your scissors, cut the clear part out of what you want. When you roll it back up, it just helps keep everything together and nice and neat. That's the only benefit. I'm not nice and neat, so I just cut out the whole thing. But you want to make sure your backing paper stays on, please. Oh gosh, so many people in the Prima group have, oh my gosh, my backing paper didn't stay on, or it wasn't attached, or it wasn't this, it wasn't that, you know, like, well, you know, you got to be careful with it. Someone you hold it on. It's not permanently on there, but all right, we're going to start with that. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure my transfer lays flat.
I found that blue tape or washi. I said I found that blue tape or washi tape just around the edges where you just cut. Helps a lot when putting it back in and not getting it messed up.
That
Just-
is a good one. I like it. I like that. I like it. I'm probably going to end up using this, but I will use that in the future. I like it. Okay, so let's grab our box. We're going to go ahead and pick a spot for our scripty block of script. I like to start somewhere on a corner or edge, right? And I like to kind of like, sometimes I spill it over like that. Obviously it's going the wrong way, but I mean, it looks good. Sometimes I just kind of cut it straight off, but the side that is always, you know, facing out, the side that's not along edge, it's called the rag in printing. I always like it to be a little organic, not just straight cut, if that makes sense. So be mindful of that. Let's just go ahead and plop right down here and take up about 3/4 of our surface. And you'll definitely want a sharp knife or scissors or both. I like to have both handy. Scissors. Make sure your knife is sharp though, okay? It could be whatever kind of knife, X-Acto, box cutter, utility, whatever it is, it needs to be sharp, you know. So no butter knives. And I'm actually going to go ahead and apply it and then cut. And the reason why you want to make sure your knife is sharp, sharp, sharp. When we're going over the opening there and we have to cut that, a dull knife is going to be a big bummer. It just kind of drags your transfer and kind of makes it jaggedy. It does not cut cleanly, if that makes sense. Makes it cut dirty. Dirty cut. Slap cut. All right, so once you got it in place, and I'm doing the top. I'm starting with the top. You don't have to start with the top. You can start with the side, wherever you want. And then I just carefully take my sharp blade. I like the snap offs because they're always sharp. I mean, if you snap them off, and just gently run it along, but you want to, you know, hold it tight so that it doesn't, you know, so it cuts nice and clean. Or you can cut it. The grid lines will help you to cut it to fit as well. So you don't have to cut it on the piece. If you are not comfortable with that, you can cut it and then place it. And then we're going to rub it on. So your little transfer tool that comes with the transfer. I like these. There's the plastic transfer tools. Of course, I got my little ice scraper transfer tool. But I always just end up going back to these, to be honest. So we're just going to scrape it on. These little blocks of text can be a little more tricky than, a big chunk of flowers. You got to rub them a little bit harder and more thorough. They're just little lines of text. So yes,
Is
it's
there
going to be.
somewhere that I can buy your little scraper?
Just send me your address. I'll send one. Anybody. I've got, it's not like there's 1,000 people in this. Offer is open to anybody. You just shoot me your address and make sure you say what it's for, or I'll be like, who is this and what do they want? Or at least my assistant will be like that. I'll send you one.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
And and some other goodies too. I got other goodies. I love goodies, and I stocked up, like I told you, for in case I do that shindig for Pinners Conference.
Perfect.
All right, so we're just scraping. Yes, it's subtle. It's not like it's going to stand out, be the wow factor. It's not the main focal point of this top here. So it probably won't be readable. It is subtle, but that's what we want. It's the subtle little textures that create interest on anything, right? Let's make sure we scrape on good. And then start in the corner and peel it up. So when you were gone, since you've been gone, telling the gals, after this class, you definitely, if you want to keep this at all, if you don't care and you're just going to never look at it again or toss it, you don't need to seal it, but I'm going to hope that you at least kind of want to care about it.
Right.
You want to seal it with clear wax or clear top coat or sealer of some sort, water-based, whatever your preference is. I like satin, but flat's fine. Gloss is fine. Semi's fine. I like satin. For a couple reasons. A, it'll make your transfer last. Sometimes they crack and peel and come up and fail when they're not sealed, right? And not always, just sometimes. So
He says that she's going to use her box for her Finnabar waxes.
oh, that's a good idea. Man, I wish I would need like too many of these boxes. I have an obsession with collecting things, and waxes are no different. Waxes,
Right.
tiny. I know, I'm a child. Anyways, let's burnish this with our pad of our finger or our the palm of our hand. Make sure it's on there really well. See the little halo lines around the edges? See those little edges? Those are not necessarily desirable. That's why we're burnishing it, which will help to get rid of those. But then when we seal it, it will help those disappear further. So your transfer will last, and you'll get rid of those halos. So that's why we seal. At the very least, seal the transfer areas I'm suggesting. So now we want to grab our next layer will be a little chunk of flowers, a cluster. So we have to decide, okay, when I am deciding where to place my flowers or whatever elements, for the most part, my go-to is two opposing corners, right? Like this corner, or this corner, or one side over, or, across the front. So you just have to kind of decide what you're feeling. I'm kind of feeling what am I feeling? Let me look at it through. I'm kind of feeling two corners and then spilling over this side a little bit. So we're going to start here and spill over. That way I can show you the cutting on this part. Okay. I see people in the groups also. I actually saw another brand ambassador show people how to go over drawers or, like seams like this. And I just wanted to be like, no. Don't tell people to do it like that.
Gina says
it seems
she's
right?
using her last box to hold hot glue sticks. That's smart.
Ooh. There's so many things you can put in a little box. It's like, but yeah, it seems so simple, right? Going over the edge and cutting it like that seems like kind of a no-brainer, but it's really not. There's so many ways you can do it. And I found the best way that I think works. And so that's what I'm going to show you. Basically you're just leaving the clear sheet on when you cut it. That's the difference. Most people peel the clear sheet off and then they try to cut it on the seam, and it just drags. It drags the transfer and creates these wrinkles and creases on the edge, and it's not very sightly. And this is what this person was showing in their tutorial. And I could see the dragging of the transfer. I was like, oh, stop it. Zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. But I'm not judging. I'm just saying, like, you know, I learned the hard way. I learned everything the hard way. All right, so I picked this little cluster here, right? Fun fact, this little flower right here, and it's the different sizes, just that flower, that's my favorite flower of all time in transfers, because you'll find it if you look hard enough. You'll find it in lots of different transfer designs, but it fits everywhere. A, it's purple, my favorite color, and B, it just fits. It's like a good filler flower, you know?
That's
you know,
great.
you'd be looking at something and be like, am I done with this? No, it needs something else. Yes, but what? Filler flower, perfect. If I could get a whole transfer of just those, I would get like 10. But I'm gonna go and cut it off for now, because our filler flowers are just kind of last resort finishing touches in my book. So I'm cutting off these filler flowers. You choose whatever chunk you want to start with. I'm choosing this big guy because I want to cover some ground. I want to get my cluster of flowers built up and then add in the little ones later. That's how I prefer to, you know, layer and place. Okay, so I got this guy. I want to spill down over the front, right? Like that. And I want him coming up on the top. Okay, you don't have to do that. You don't have to go over the lid. You don't have to, you know, go over the opening. None of that. I'm showing you because it's a lot of things that can and probably will come up if you transfer enough or plan to, or, you know. So I'm just going to increase it like that, like it's on there. Then I'm going to come around to the side, and I have to decide, how am I going to do that? Do I want this to come down here? I think so. So how am I going to make that happen? See, in between that leaf and that flower, I don't know if any of you are sewers or not, or I'm going to bet that some of you sew, but there's little relief cuts kind of like this. I don't remember what they're called, but we're going to make a little relief cut right there. So it's right in between that flower and that leaf.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not losing anything, right? So we're applying all this, and then we're going to come down like this, and then we're going to wrap it over like a present. Your leaf is still going to be intact. Your petal's still going to be intact.
Wow.
You know what I mean? It's like it was meant to be. So I'm creasing so I know where to put my transfer when I go take the backing paper off, or I can take a little marker and I can mark it, you know, but I don't have a marker handy, and I'm just going to crease it like that. That way I remember where I had it. That works too, right? Boom. So I'm going to slowly peel off my bag. I hope you're following me. I'm sorry. I know if you do transfers all the time, you're probably like, snooze lady, we get it. But if you don't, I don't want to be going too fast. But
I think you're doing a great job.
oh, you're so sweet. Thank you.
And I've only used transfers a couple times for Art Venture, so I think you're doing a good job.
Oh, cool. Are you doing it with us this time?
No, not this time. I had to pack all my stuff. I have to drive home tonight, so.
Oh, I got you. That's okay. I was just wondering, where's home? And where are you driving from?
I'm in San Diego, California right now, and I live about an hour and a half north of here, outside of LA in Ontario. Lizzie says you're doing a good job too.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right, you see how we got the top, flat part on the top. Okay, I just use my fingers to press it on there. And then I'm gonna let this hang loose for a minute, okay? I'm gonna do my front all the way down, okay? And then just be very careful with your loosely hanging one, okay? Just be very, very careful. Now I'm gonna grab my little tool, maybe my little wooden stick, and I'm gonna rub on this side real quick. Okay, so we can cut that crease with our sharp knife, not our butter knife. And we're gonna do it before we peel off the backing paper. And maybe I should put out a PSA, like in the redesign of Prime group, like, hey guys. So just FYI, little tip for Tuesday, pro tip for you.
So you make sure that it's burnished completely, right?
Before I cut it?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's after you cut it, you can still go over it more if you're like, oh, maybe I didn't do as good a job as I thought. But yeah, I usually do. Because then I usually just peel it right off. But since we're wrapping around two sides, 3 sides actually. We might not peel off just yet, but you'll still get to see my clean cut as opposed to my jagged cut. Okay, got that on there. Okay, clean cut. You just barely need to do, you know, like, you don't want to dig down in there. You just barely got to go at it because your knife is sharp, remember? But slowly so that you don't screw up and cut in the wrong spot, you know. Slow and steady wins the race. Unless you're actually in a race. Then probably going fast would actually win. I don't know. That's what I hear. We are the racing capital of the world here in Indianapolis.
Oh, that's true.
Mm-hmm. All right, so then what I like to do after I cut it right down the middle like that, I take my fingernail and I dig it in there. And what that does is it kind of, you know, goes under the top little lid a little bit and the bottom a little bit, just kind of seals the deal. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So my fingernail, and then I'll go ahead and peel this bottom one and show you. Then I peel it off just like that. Burnish it a little better with my palm or my finger, whatever you want. Get out bubbles, wrinkles, all that jazz. And then you can see, let's see if I got it cut all the way through. Oh, looks like there were some spots I didn't get it cut all the way through. Dang it. But it's a clean cut. It's not like, it's not wrinkly and jaggedy like some people's. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, I'm not going to get into it with this person, but see, clean cut.
That looks good.
Yeah, we don't want no raggedy edges on our stuff. All right, so now let's go ahead and do, oh, let's rub on the top since it keeps kind of wanting to bubble up. Rub it on to keep it in place, and then we'll do that other side. And let's see. All right, so we're just going to wrap it down like a book or like a present. Okay, you can wrap the bottom side if you want, but since my bottom is kind of atrocious as it is, I'm just going to cut it off. So I need 3 hands, man. That's like the 4th time in the last 24 hours I've thought to myself, I need 3 hands. Or 3 arms.
That would definitely be nice.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it'd be amazing. But then we'd be like, oh my gosh, I need 4 hands. It's like, okay, right. I'll just be happy with the 2 I have. All right, so I'm gonna cut that bottom off. Boom. All right, so run my fingernail along that. Rubbing this guy on. Oh, you missed my Barbie, Jane. You missed my Barbie. I showed everybody.
Uh-oh. Darn internet.
Yeah, maybe if you're lucky, I'll show you later. It's a CeCe Barbie.
I would love to see a CeCe Barbie.
It's so cute. She's got her little apron and her little Adidas and her little purple hair. Purple.
Oh,
streaks.
nice.
So cute. All right, so we're rubbing on. And then, before we cut that, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this right on around the edge like that.
Becky says, CeCe, you're awesome. I have to drop, work calling. Have a good night, everyone. You have a great night.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so I got my little knife, and on this corner, if it bunches up a little bit, just get a little slit. I might have gotten it on there a little bit out of place than I originally had laid it, but and then we wrap it around the front like a little present. It's like a gift.
Now, did you take the coating off of the other one first before we're wrapping, or?
This one?
No, on the other side. I can't remember.
No, but it's no, not yet. Oh gosh, you're right. I didn't. Darn it, dummy. I didn't. You're right. It's stuck to my clear coating. I was getting so ahead of myself. Okay, so when I peeled this off, I should have continued going up and peeled that off. Then I could go over that, but I wasn't even. See, I wasn't even paying attention to that. Thank you for pointing that out. So
I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, so Everything the same except peel that off first where you're wrapping around to. Dum dum. I'm such a dum dum.
No, you're just so excited and having fun, right?
Right. I was like, we're making some progress on these, and I love it. I love transferring. It's one of my favorite things. So I get really excited about it. I'll show you how to band-aid that here in a second. You can always band-aid the boo-boo. Right. So I'm gonna cut the little slit, right? Boom. Okay, so now I can peel off the bottom little guy. Oh, I forgot to do my fingernail. We'll do a fingernail real quick. Fingernail. Wrinkle free, bubble free, sucker free, and let's go ahead and remove this one. So I'm gonna make sure I go over that edge really well. We'll pull this up, and I'll show you how to band-aid that little boo-boo. So even if you're smarter than me and you went ahead and removed your clear plastic, and before you go over the corner, see, oopsie daisy. Uh-oh, we got a torn flower. What are we gonna do about it? Is it ruined? Is all hope lost? No. I'll tell you how to
That's a
fix
good thing
it.
you did it. You did it on purpose to show everybody how to fix it.
Absolutely. It was an opportunity to just show you how to band-aid it, which, I mean, it's not anything fancy. It's just taking another little flower and plopping it right on top.
Ah,
Just like we're gonna, was it Becky or Trace? It was Becky, I think, that was gonna band-aid her,
yeah,
her or two that was not crisp.
right.
And, oh, there's something else that was not perfect. That we're gonna band-aid
Stencil
it.
and her taping, unfortunately.
Yes. Okay. Yes. The stencil to it. That's what I forgot. All right. So let's go and, did I rub this side? Don't remember. Peel her off. Burnish her
Wow.
down real good. I like to go over the edge one more time. Make sure everything's smooth and no wrinkles, no bobbles. And I actually, that corner doesn't really need a Band-Aid. I mean, you can't really tell. Can you really tell? I mean, it looks kind of good, right? We're going to plop a flower on it anyways, just in case. So,
Right?
oh no, I tore my flower on the edge. What am I going to do? We're just going to cover it up.
Oh, nice.
So I have a whole tutorial actually about fixing boo-boos on transfers. And that's just one of the ways. But it's the way that makes the most sense right now because we have extra flowers and stuff. So on the top, I want a little bit of something coming out here, you know, something a little bit detached, you know, something like that. And then maybe something over here in this corner. Remember I told you I like to come in from two corners. Balance, it's all about balance. But I'm gonna go ahead and Band-Aid that real quick. Put a little Band-Aid on my boo-boo. I'm gonna do these little purple guys. This little tiny purple cluster. See this transfer? It's just full of Band-Aids. I love it. I love it. That's what the world needs is more Band-Aid transfers. One of my transfers that's coming out in May, the end of May, is these really cool well, shoot, I'm not supposed to tell you. I wish I would have made more Band-Aid sized elements on it, is all I'm trying to say. But
Okay.
you live and you learn, right?
Right. Well, it's good to know you have something new coming out in May. Is it just one transfer or you got some other stuff coming out?
Oh, girl, I got all kinds of goodies coming out.
Oh, good.
All kinds of goodies. All of them. You'll just have to wait and see.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh, it's exciting. That's why I've barely posted any furniture in almost a month, maybe like one piece compared to my normal like 15, because I've been busy working on all this furniture that I can't post yet. Nobody can say yet. It's awful. It's terrible on my impatience. I'm like a toddler. My patience is like the span of a toddler's.
Well, Lisa said she can't wait to see all the goodies coming out.
Oh, I can't wait to show you. But yeah, I'm like, is it time yet? Is it time yet? Is it time yet? No, is it time yet? All right, so that is,
Wow,
see,
that looks amazing.
so I'm gonna add, see that big chunk of white? I'll probably put a couple little individuals here to break up that chunk of white. Same here, maybe a little guy there, because that's kind of boring right there, that little flat area or that little boring area. I'm gonna put a little flower there, something kind of coming off. breaking off from the cluster, something to over here for balance. And that's how I like to layer my transfers. Let's see. I'll seal it with a clear top coat. Satin is my preference, but that's just my preferred sheen. You can use whatever sheen you would like. But let me see how, are we okay on time? I mean, I
Oh
can,
yeah, you still got 30 minutes, girl.
well, yeah, well, that's kind of cutting it.
Oh, okay.
That's
How
a
is
little,
everyone doing? Let me know how you're doing.
yeah, let me know if you have any questions.
Puts
I can-
another one on. Go ahead and let me know how you're doing and see if you guys want to show your boxes already or if you have any questions.
Yeah, I wanted to add some more, but I didn't want to take away from anyone asking questions or anything else. So that's why I was.
Go ahead and start one. And if they start asking questions, we can go ahead and answer them as you. Tracy said she's still placing her first flower cluster, so that's good.
Cool. Well, I definitely, I know Elena usually has a little post that says post your projects here.
Yeah.
Definitely. Excuse me. I definitely want to see, I'm so excited. That's my favorite part. I just, like I said, I got that live at 8, which it's non-negotiable with them, and great people, but I don't like to disappoint, and I disappoint often because I'm always late. So we may have gotten a little talking to about being late. Like a great right. So this is my little piece. No, there. No. Somebody's got pups.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, don't be sorry. Oh gosh. You know what? We're gonna put this little Raggedy Ann out here somewhere. How about there? Boom. And then it's all about balance, right? Like I have a lot of people ask, like, how do you know where to place things? And then sometimes I see a lot of people that look like they just went willy-nilly and was like, I'm just gonna throw all this on here. That's fine, but like you definitely, placement that looks like you didn't think about it is definitely something that you have to think about, It's crazy.
Right.
To get that randomness, you have to think about it to make it look like you didn't. Balance is what I try to keep in mind, like visual balance. See, there I go again with my visual and not my actual weight balance. I mean, when looking at it, it can't just have this one corner heavy full of flowers. I got to balance that out, right? So I'm going to do that in this corner, right? So that's pretty much the one principle of art and design that I keep in mind at all times. There's others, but that's the most important.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's the most prevalent, I would say. It's my most used.
Like, no worries. It will take me extra time to do transfers, so continue on or do whatever. That's fine. And Lisa says, I love that transfer. Definitely have to get it. Yes, I've seen it in person, Lisa. It is absolutely amazing. You think it's great
this one?
on camera. Yeah.
She probably did the Encore last time, right? And got that kit with the other transfer. The gosh, the birds and butterflies.
Birds and bees. I don't remember what it was named.
Yeah, between that transfer and this one, it's got all the bases covered. I tried so hard. I said, can we not like take sheets out of the transfers and each person have like one get 2 different transfers, instead of like only one transfer. They're like, nope, that takes too many people and too much time. I was like, okay, fly me out there. I will open tubes. I will split up the transfers. Like what the first time was like what 50 people or something in most classes, roughly that.
I remember. There was at least 50 for the most part.
Yeah, I'll get my interns on that and they'll have it done in like an hour. I'm not saying it'll be right, but it'll be done. Gosh bless them. They're sweet, but geez, they're Pete. All right, here we go. Boom.
Okay, so who else is actually making their box right now besides Tracy? I know Melissa is. I believe Gina was.
Yeah, please post in the group or in the comments of the whatever, if the post or if you make your own post, I don't care. I want to see it.
No.
I love.
We'll have a post up and everybody will be able to add to that one, and we'll tag you, CeCe.
Awesome. Yeah, do that. I just oh gosh. Yeah, I don't want to hurry anybody or anything like that. I don't like to show people stuff before it's done. Like, I do not do it unless they sneak in the shop and I don't know they're coming. I don't let people see their pieces before they're done and ready, because inevitably every time they go, well, what about this part? And I'm like, I'm not done with it yet. Like, a lady came in the other day and she goes, well, this is all you have done to it? I'm like, no, I'm not. I just haven't painted this part yet. She goes, it's going to be white. I said, no, it's not white. This is the color you brought it to me. I just sanded it and I'm going to paint it next.
Right. I was like, give me a second.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, I told you I'm not done, which means it's not done. I don't know how to better explain that concept, but people are funny. And I just try to prevent that, because I don't like them thinking for 1 second, like, oh gosh, that's what she's doing. Like, I can't handle that thought. I'm like, no. I promise you, it's gonna look fantastic.
I understand completely.
Okay, so I want to cluster this little corner. I think I'm going to do this here. That might be too dark. Balance. We're thinking balance. I like this little cluster over here. It's got blue, like our box is blue. And it's got white, purple. I love it. Did anybody find the little funny in the text that I was talking about? In the scripty text, there's a little funny. I mean, I giggle.
Didn't even look at the text.
I giggle every time I see it, but I don't want to point out because I don't want to be that person, That's all I need is Prima going, now, CeCe, we don't need you pointing these things out to consumers, because even though I pointed it out to them.
Yeah.
It's just cute. I like it.
Tracy said she didn't find it.
Well, maybe when we're not recording, I'll give you a little hint. All right, I'm going to put this cluster on. And then I was thinking about putting some of these big words from the other sheet kind of on top, but I don't know. The last one I showed you, my sample, I covered up my ghosted stenciling, and it was kind of, I covered it up. I wasn't really paying attention, and I don't want to do that again. So I'll probably just put this corner on and leave that at that. I'm going to do my little wrap around. I love doing that.
Oh, how cute.
Yeah, I love this. I love this transfer. Love it.
Okay, you guys, I'm not hearing from you. How are we doing? I heard from Tracy. She says she's going to take her a little bit of time to do this.
Yeah, I don't blame you, girl. Take your time. I'm only trying to hurry because I know that the furthest I can get right now is the best. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I leave too much for later, it will never happen.
I understand that one. And Melissa is still working on the big floral transfer. Okay.
All right. Did you guys have any questions about like the idea of balance and the placement, or, layout and composition of like where you're going to put things?
Gina says, I'm always behind, it seems. That's okay. I usually am too, Gina. Taking your time.
Is she gotten to the transfer part yet?
Let's see.
Hopefully, if not, let us know.
She's on the transfer part, yes.
Okay, that's good. You're not behind. I'm just working extra fast because I want to show you as much as I can before I hop off, which should probably be here soon. But I do want to let you, I am not on Facebook a ton lately, but I am trying now that I have help with my inboxes and email. I'm on Facebook more. So if there's anything that like, I don't even care if it's like a transfer question irrelevant to this project or something, anything you need to know, you can always post it in the group or try to post it, try to message me, or, well, on my business page is probably the best place to message me, but unless we're friends, if we're friends, then I'll get it. Email me or whatever. I don't want to leave you hanging or high and dry. I want to make sure that you have the answers to your questions as they pop up. So even if that's after we're done here, if it pops up, shoot me an email, drop me a line.
Does anybody want to come on and show CeCe what you have so far before she takes off? We have a few minutes left. Just raise your hand or text me and let me know.
Well, I'm always, and I'm going live at 8. So, I mean, I suppose you always hop on there and ask too, but I might not see the question.
Tracy said there's not much to show yet. That's okay. We can you can just take pictures and put them in the Facebook Imprima Art Venture Facebook group. That'd be perfect.
Yes, please do. All right, I think that's pretty much my top and my front. Well, no, front, I think I need a little small gray to break up that there, but I don't know. I'm not sure which one quite yet.
That's amazing.
Maybe this guy can be coming up over the top. No, then it covers up that purple flower. So many decisions. Ooh, I think.
Thank you, CeCe. I loved your class.
Thank you guys so much for coming to the class. I love doing this, and I wish we could do it more regularly, but I always try to do all things all the time. So maybe I should just shut up, but it's fun. It is fun. I love doing all the things.
Well, it's hard when you love it. Yes. You just want to do everything all at once.
That's my problem. I want to say yes, and I want to do all the things, and I always want to do it. But 24 hours in a day does not agree with that whole concept of me doing all the things. So I just realized recently I'm actually not Superwoman.
Well, you have to sleep sometime, unfortunately.
I know. I was a little disappointed, but what are you gonna do?
Right.
So, well, I guess if everybody, I'll hop off. That way I can. I don't know what time it is. Maybe I could just sit.
I'm gonna take a screenshot. So if you hold up, here's my box from last time. It's a different one.
Ooh.
I did do the things all around. So, and I have some words and stuff. I loved it. So if you can hold up the box that you did, I'm gonna take a screenshot. So let's see.
Well, here, we'll put this guy here, saying it's a work in progress,
right there. Ready?
Well, does that look right? I'm gonna stop. Not overthink it.
Perfect. Okay. It's gonna be a small picture anyway, so that's totally fine.
Oh, overthinkers and over here. Don't worry about it.
Right? Tracy says, I love the idea of doing small boxes for gifts. Thank you, CeCe.
Oh, yes, that's great. If you have a booth, smalls in the booth sell really well. But okay, I appreciate y'all, and I can't wait to see your project in the group. Thank you so much.
We can't thank you enough for doing Art Venture in the first place, let alone doing Encore as well. And all of your tips and techniques, it's absolutely amazing. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
You're just an amazing artist.
You don't have to pay extra for that. So you're welcome.
I love that. That's the best part. Thank you so much, Lisa. Thank you, Gina. Gina says thank
you, Jamie. Thank everybody.
Okay, you guys.
All right,
we had an amazing time. Thank you so much. And please post your pictures in the Premier Art Venture group, and we will get this video uploaded as soon as we can to the classroom. Thank you, guys.
All right. Later. Bye.